Hello children, welcome back to our English lesson. I'm Zarema, your English teacher. Today we are going to talk about relative pronouns which, who, when, where, and the topic of our lesson is defining relative clauses. So let's start our lesson. Well, let's read and listen to the dialogue between Asil and Emma. They are talking about one girl. I saw Elisa yesterday. Elisa, the girl who plays the piano? No, that's Eliza. Elisa is the girl who graduated our school last year. She's working in Asia Mall now. You know the shop that sells expensive clothes? Okay, let's look at the lines more closely. The girl who plays the piano. The girl who graduated our school last year. The shop that sells expensive clothes. Clauses printed in blue are called relative clauses. They give us more information about the subject or the object of the previous sentence. For example, the relative clauses in this conversation identify which person or thing they are talking about. For example, the clause who plays the piano tells us which girl Asil means. And the clause that sells very expensive clothes tells us which shop Emma means. Relative clauses are usually introduced by pronouns who, which, that, whose, where, and when. Let's learn more about them. Who or that. The relative pronoun who refers to people. For example, the woman who lived here before us is a romantic novelist. The woman who lived here before us is a romantic novelist. It is also possible to use that when we talk about people, especially in informal language. For example, this is the girl that has eaten all her pizza. That and which. The relative pronouns that and which refers to things. That is more usual than which, especially in conversations. For example, the car that won the race looked very fantastic. The car that won the race looked very fantastic. Which is more formal. For example, I've got a dictionary which is very helpful. I've got a dictionary which is very helpful. Whose is possessive relative pronoun, refers to people or things belonging to someone. For example, I know the girl whose mother is astronaut. I know the girl whose mother is astronaut. This is John, whose test grades are always high. Where refers to a place. For example, here is the store where we usually buy fruits and vegetables. Here is the store where we usually buy fruits and vegetables. So we are talking about this shop. When refers to a time. For example, I remember the time when we lived in a lovely village. I remember the time when we lived in a lovely village. Okay, let's learn more about relative clauses with the next song.
Relative clause give us extra information. Relative clause tell us about the noun. Relative clause use a relative pronoun. Who, whose, that, which. A princess whose heart is broken sat and cried in the great hall. The magical table that grants wishes cost £400,000. The teacher who hunts for glitter, sits and cries into her cheese. My porridge that gives me energy is made from the tears of a duck. You need commas to protect the relative clause. A comma on each side of the relative clause.
Now let's practice. Complete the rules with which, who, where, and when. Okay, time is up. Let's check it together. We use who for people. The next, we use when for time. We use where for place. And we use which for things. Great! The next. Which words help to combine the sentences? Okay, children, let's check. Kyrgyzstan is a country where there are a lot of customs and traditions there. The next, Tusho kesүү is one of the Kyrgyz traditions which is popular in our country. The next, parents organize a big toy. They have 1-year-old child. Parents who have 1-year-old child organize a big toy. The fourth, a toy is a party to celebrate a special occasion. People get together in a person's home. Okay. A toy is a party to celebrate a special occasion where people get together in a person's home. And the last, Batai is a blessing. It asks the God to protect the child all his life. Okay, let's combine it. Bata is a blessing which asks the God to protect the child all his life. Okay, children, let's watch the video to practice more the relative clauses.
Who's the young woman sitting over there? Do you mean the woman wearing a red dress?
Yes, the one who's eating wedding cake. I don't think I know her.
Oh, that's the bride's sister.
Ah, is she the sister that lives in Scotland?
No, she lives in London. It's her brother who lives in Scotland. He's the man wearing a kilt. Their parents, who are retired now, live in Spain.
Oh yes, Mrs. Jones, who I was sitting next to at lunch, was telling me about the house in Spain.
No, Grandma, you weren't sitting next to Mrs. Jones. That was Mrs. Taylor, who used to live next door to us.
Oh, well, she has a house in Spain too, which is why I got confused.
Grandma, who's the lady putting lipstick on over there?
Oh, that's Mavis. She's the girl I went to school with all those years ago.
Oh, yes. I've seen the photos Mum and Dad have at home.
Oh, by the way, who's taking photos of the wedding?
The photographer. He's over there.
He used a flash, which I hate. I always have red eyes.
Don't worry, Grandma. All the photos taken with that camera will be good. He's a top professional. Grandma, who's the boy talking to your friend Mavis?
Oh, that's her nephew, whose parents live in South Africa. But he lives in London with Mavis. He goes to the school where Mavis and I were students many years ago. Oh, look, he's coming over. I can introduce you.
Well, let's continue. During the sentences, make the necessary changes. Okay, now let's check. That's the boy. He's been to England. That's the boy who has been to England. The second. Do you know that girl? She's wearing a red dress. Do you know that girl who is wearing a red dress? The third. He presented me a book. It was expensive. He presented me a book which was expensive, or he presented me a book that was expensive. Join the sentences. Make the changes if it's necessary. Okay, let's check. Let's go to the supermarket. We bought sweets yesterday there. Let's go to the supermarket where we bought sweets yesterday. Do you like the book? You borrowed it from me. Do you like that book which you borrowed it from me? Or do you like the book that you borrowed from me? Now it's time to play a game. Read the sentence and choose the correct answer. The first sentence. The children are playing in the bedroom are my best friends. Choose the correct relative pronoun. Okay, let's check. The children who are playing in the bedroom are my best friend. Great. The next. The plane the boy is playing with was expensive. Well, let's check. The plane which the boy is playing with was expensive. Great. The next. Mr. Smith, wife is a nurse, goes to work on foot. Which, who, whose? Okay, let's check. Mr. Smith, whose wife is a nurse, goes to work on foot. Mr. Smith, whose wife is a nurse, goes to work on foot. Daisy has a lot of clothes, never knows what to wear. Which, who, whose? Okay, let's check. Daisy, who has a lot of clothes, never knows what to wear. Next. The girl, father is a teacher, likes reading. Okay, let's check. The girl, whose father is a teacher, likes reading. The next. The spider is in the bathroom is big. Okay, let's check. The spider, which is in the bathroom, is big. The next. The boy is having breakfast is my brother. Okay, let's check. The boy who is having breakfast is my brother. The next. The man children are playing is a farmer. Okay, let's check. The man whose children are playing is a farmer. Lucy loves computer, is a bad student. Okay, let's check. Lucy, who loves computer, is a bad student. Now, let's review what we have learned about relative clauses in this short video. Well, our lesson is over now. Hope the lesson was interesting and useful for you. See you soon. Goodbye.